Hello, I'm Anna Amelia from North East Animal Rights. Welcome to another one of my talks on all things vegan. Today I'm going to be talking about horse racing. We have had the Cheltenham Gold Cup, and also we have the Grand National this week as well. The horse racing industry in the UK is worth £4.1 billion. It's called the sport of kings, where a variety of members of the royal family, domestic and abroad royal families, and aristocrats are seen at tacky events. Members of the public want a part of the glamour, the excitement, the dressing up, the ladies' day, the champagne. But behind the TV glamour, what is it really like? Animal Aid did an expose with Panorama on the sad endings of thoroughbred horses which are no longer fast enough. But also in this expose, they showed the gruesome endings of horses who belong to families and have been outgrown by their owners. We know that these animals are seen as just as commodities, money-making machines who are disposed of once they have no further use. Animal Aid say that the owners are breeding speculatively to produce an X-Factor champion. So how many animals don't make the grade? What happens to those who don't make it? A breeding stallion is exploited for 20 years. In a 6-month breeding season, a stallion is expected to service 3 mares per day. Females are subjected to drugs and artificial light to help speed up the process, the reproductive process. In the wild, a mare would only have one foal probably every 2 years, but they are expected to have one every single year until they're considerably older than they would in the wild as well, if they were conceiving naturally. 20% of thoroughbred horses born are never raced. So what happens to those? We know some of them will make their way into equestrian events, but there's a massive number still unaccounted for. So they're killed at the yards, they're fed at hunting hounds, and they're butchered for the flesh. 1 in every 37 horses who start the season will have died or have been killed by the end of it. Horses used to be bred for specific reasons, for courses, flat racing, or for jump racing, but now they're bred to do both. Jump racing accounts for 80% of fatalities. Some injuries, if they occurred to your dog or your cat, you'd be distraught at, but you would happily pay a vet to treat them. In the industry, horses are rarely treated and find their way back into racing because there's just no money to be made from them. So if they can't make money from them, they're of no use to the trainer or the owner, so they are killed. Of course, horse racers also suffer fatal injuries all the time, actually at the race courses or in training. Broken necks, spinal injuries and heart attacks, all due to being raced beyond what their physical bodies can cope with. Other illnesses and conditions which horses suffer from, which is caused by the horrific abuse they go through, include gastric ulcers, exercise-induced pulmonary hemorrhages, which causes the blood to leak from nostrils. One horse dies every 2 days, but you never hear this. This is in British racing. You never hear this in the media. It's a fact which is covered up. In fact, you rarely hear anything negative in the media until the build-up to the Grand National and the Cheltenham Gold Cup. And that's only down to activists making sure that these horses' stories are told. The industry does not want the general public to hear this. And every now and again, there was something that leaks out, like that awful photograph last year we saw of the trainer sitting on a dead horse, on the body of a dead horse. It leaks out. But once the horror has died down, the same old excuses, he was one bad apple, this is not commonplace. It's trotted out, the exploitation continues, and horses die or are killed. Now let's look at the whip. Much is said about the use of the whip and so-called regulation by the self-appointed, non-independent British Horse Racing Authority. The industry says it doesn't hurt, yet they recommend limits in its use. So if it has to have limits in its use, clearly it has an impact on the horse, so it hurts. They say it is to encourage a horse to go faster, but they have a so-called skilled athlete sat on the horse's back whose job it is to do that. So again, why do you need this tool? If you used a whip, which they will say is a paddle, like sanitizing what it actually is made from and what it is used for. If you used it on a dog, you'd be prosecuted. So if you can't use a whip on a dog, why should you be allowed to on a horse? The industry will say that the horses enjoy the challenge of all these races, these strenuous events, but the horses have no choice in doing this. You would not choose to have a human climb on top of them and ride them. In the wild, you would not see this spectacle. Horses would not be charging around, leaping over fences and over walls. They really wouldn't. They say that horses are treated like members of their own family, but we know through the exposes and the information that the industry does not want us to know about, that how these horses meet their end when they reach the end of their commercial viability. Would you treat a family member in this way? Would you treat a companion animal in this way? You just wouldn't. So how can you help? How can you, as a member of the public, you as one individual, how can you help? First of all, don't bet on horse racing. Don't take part in any work sweepstakes as well, and tell those who are organising that you think it's cruel and you will not take part in sweepstakes. It's not for fun. Contact your MP and ask them for their support in getting independent regulation. We as a group, and Animal Aid as an organisation as well, we want an outright ban on animal exploiting industries like the horse racing industry and greyhound racing for that matter as well. We want a ban, but being pragmatic, we know that a ban is a long way away. So we want independent regulation, people who are independently appointed to look at the practices within the horse racing industry and not a self-appointed auditor. Contact racecourses and politely ask them, tell them that you do not agree with their activities and ask them questions like, how many horses were killed at their course? Contact the British Horse Racing Authority and ask them for facts and figures to support, how many jockeys flouted the regulation, their recommendations on the use of the whip. What are the sanctions which are in place for jockeys who do this? Things like that. Ask them these questions. Make sure you get responses from them. Contact the sponsors and ask them to withdraw their support. So members of the public doing just this last year, a number of high-profile sponsors, including Chichi and Pertemps, withdrew their support. This year, we still have Randox, Molson Coors, AFT Systems, SSS Super Alloys, Marsh UK and Ireland, still providing financial support to this awful event. Contact the TV companies who air these awful spectacles. Ask them why green screens go up. Is this race is purely entertainment and fun and can be shown during the day? Why do they have to hide part of it away? Why do they hide these atrocities happening to these vulnerable animals when the animals are getting treated and then shot? Check out PETA, the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, as they have a great form which is already populated for you to contact these sponsors. Check out investigations and reports on the Animal Aid website. I've taken a lot of the facts and information from Animal Aid for my talk today, and they really are very comprehensive and will overturn any inclination you may have that this is a fun industry. People will justify this as a bit of fun. We are spoiling this fun. As activists, we are spoiling that fun, but it really isn't fun. Put it simply, you bet these animals will die. The sport of kings, or is it the sport of vacuous, self-entitled people and business people making an absolute fortune on the backs of animal abuse? That's what it's really about, okay? You can help. Please do not bet on horse racing. You bet they die. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that was useful. Please share this video so it gets as wide an audience as possible. And if you like our work, please follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok, and on YouTube as well. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have a Gmail account. You can also donate to our work as well. We have our bank details in our link tree on all of our accounts. But thank you very much, most of all, for listening. We do appreciate it. We appreciate every one of you who listens and shares our videos and our posts. So this is Anna Amelia from North East Animal Rights, signing off now and saying thank you.